sending data. We need to make sure. Send out the black signal. Man, it felt good not to have to get up early. If we have any call-ins, I'm going to have to apologize in advance. For some reason, my beautiful, friendly Mike, who has been with me for years, has seemed to have given up the ghost. So now it's time to upgrade the equipment. Y'all know it's hard on the journey. It's hard on the journey. But we do what we can, when we can, how we can, and where we can, right? Let's go. I know some of y'all like, Brother Tim, you need to get up early in the morning. This was one of those days, once again, like that weekend. Catch me when you can. Brother Tim is trying to get some sleep. Sasha wanted to try to watch as many of the Hero episodes as possible last night. So I ain't laid down until about 12. I know that y'all like, that ain't late. Yeah, for me, nowadays, that's pretty late. So, shouts out to Miss Shosh. And we're gonna finish season 1 of Heroes hopefully today. She liked it. I mean, like, she liked that whole Heroes journey thing. She's figuring it out. So, learning the basis of storytelling, that's one of the most important pieces, at least for me. I want to say happy MLK Day, celebrating a great man. You know what I'm saying? Can do nothing but have respect for the brother and what he did. In many ways, I have to say it as bluntly as I can. Fuck the haters. You know what I'm saying? If you celebrate Martin Luther King today, by all means, do it, right? And in our usual fashion, we're going to set off with our toast. And from there, we're going to move on to some conversation, if there's any out there. Got some interesting posts on Facebook, at least one I've seen. I personally have not been posting up for the last couple of days. I've been chilling, been following some of the beat that's been going on with this whole ADOS, FBA, or whatever. And it's like giving me a headache trying to keep up with some of this shit. I don't go on Twitter that much, man. I go and check stuff, and I have the things come to my phone, but it's starting to get irritating now. I'm starting to remember why I kind of gave up on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real easy just to have bullshit beefs. You know what I'm saying? 140 characters or less. You got gangsters online. It's crazy, man. You be listening to some of the banter, and then I go and listen to different YouTubers, and motherfuckers be lying. I be listening to some shit, and I'm trying to get juice from everybody and give everybody the respect and learn what I can to add to what I bring to my fam. But I'm having a real problem with some people just blatantly lying. It's some lies. It's just like, you hear some shit and you be like, this motherfucker just totally twisted up the conversation and the truth, or reverting to telling jokes and being very disrespectful to someone else that doesn't have your view. And I can see where that has a place. That has a place of war, since bullets are being shot in this war. Insults are weapons. Changing facts is a weapon. Misquoting is a weapon. And I ain't gonna say it's sad to see, because I honestly thought that this shit would have been over by now, because I didn't, but I can understand. I can understand why it's not over, because family, people are fighting to put themselves in positions to fleece the people. Some people look at what has been brought up by the ADOS movement as an opportunity to move into some big shit right now. And that's what's happening at this point in time. So, without any further ado, I don't know if we up on YouTube yet. Appears we up on YouTube. So, family, I'm going to open up the lines. Let's do the toast first. I'm going to get to the toast right now. Let's do the song. Then we're going to jump right into the toast. Right after that, we can have some conversation, some discussion, some dialogue. How do you feel about all this shit that's popping off? It's getting ridiculous to me, right? But hey, who am I? I'm just an old man with a YouTube channel. That's it. An old man with a YouTube channel. And fuck it. I love what I do. I love talking to my fam. So here we go. First off, I want to welcome you to the Congregation of the Mighty. This is the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Guess what? I am your host, Brother High Tim. And of course, you know that this is the Daily Toast. Kind of late. Toast and Talk edition, where we strive to blow up your old paradigm. Come on, drink your water, but first, take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath. Drink. Or should we say, breathe, then drink. Take your breath. Now, grab your glass, put some water. Get that picture of that water. Lift that picture of that water. Simply pour some water. Drink. Or should I say, lift, pour, then drink. Now move your body and drink some water. Move your body and drink some water. Move your body, drink some water. Family, move your body. Drink. Or should I say, move, then drink. Man, listen, Now raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Now raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Now raise your glass and toast your ancestors, fam. Just raise your glass. Drink. Or should I say, raise, toast, then. Now take your breath and drink some water. Lift and pour yourself some water. Move your body, drink some water. Raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Breathe, lift, move, toast. Or should we say, breathe, drink, eat, move. 4 pillars of health. Drink half your weight in ounces. Eat a culturally appropriate diet. But hey, take your breath. Lift and pour. Move your body. Toast your ancestors. Drink up. Drink with me, fam. Drink your water. Drink, 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 drink. Drink your water. Take your breath. Lift and pour. Move your body. Toast your ancestors. Shouts out to Now Valley Rollin. What's up? Alright, yo family, we're about to do the toast. Pull out my last little batch of ambrosia. I'm gonna have to go on and start the fermenting process. Nope, I didn't start this weekend. You know. All my appointments require me to be busy in the evening, which is the time that I like to go get my stuff. I still need to go get my tea. I think I might slide out today. I don't know. Still got to get the water, but you know, it's still some brewing that needs to be done. So those people that want to place your orders, now is the time, especially if you got a special order that you want to put in. But anyway, enough about me. Let's get into these ancestors first. Raising the glass to the creator by whatever name you choose, call it creator. We lift up our glass and we salute that fabulous, magnificent, marvelous, undescribable creator. We lift up the glass to the hidden one and we say, Ashe. From there, family, we move to our list of our ancestors. And like I said, family, for those that are new to what we do, if you want to put your ancestors on the list where we toast them up on a daily basis, by all means, you could do that. You could throw their name up there right now, and I will make sure I add them to the list. But now, we will start. Miles Brown, Ms. Ann, Robert Alexander Davis, Herman Brown, Sr., Rosalie Tilly, Georgia, William Walter, Christopher Fanny Gasson, Eileen, Uncle Chris, Fiend, Cleveland, Geneva Brown, Margaret Ellis, Wash Ellis, Cecil Ellis, Alvaro Brown, Jenny Gaines, Herman Brown II, Barbara Twiggs, Wash Ellis Jr., Katie Ellis, Nikki Ellis, Jamon Jones, Jeremiah Tappan, John Fallard, Montague Pittman, Normal X, Pet Mount Ra, Malika Fakur, Dr. Marianne Williams, Kojo Kamal, Elder Millie Dixon, Tony Clark, Pastor Yusuf Weston, Elder Ajani, Elder Ron Coleman, Elder Robert Donaldson, Alfred Broford, Hector Jr., J. Edwards, Carlisle Harris, Grace Lundy, Inez Harris, William Bill Moss, Phyllis Rose, Sterling and Lucy Wright, Derek L. Pullian, the Luxor Brothers, Miss Eda Brooks Crawley, Miss Marie Nelson, Mr. Frederick Crawley Sr., Miss Jerry Brunson, Miss Alonzo Johnson, Miss Marie McDowell, Janice Foster, Charles Jordan, Kel Smith, Walter Smith, Richard Trigg, Francis Johnson, Mary Franklin, Jimmy Williams, Daniel Ford, George Gibson, Nana Loretta Clark, Inez McCrae, Fritz Clark, Frankie Justice, Katie Justice, Derek Rennerman, Virginia Rogers, Reverend James Smith, Lois Henderson, Kevin Spratling, Mary Elizabeth Walker, Raymond Walker Sr., Sarah Jane Carter, Michael Ford Jr., Kellen D. Russell, Susie B. Smith, Teresa Clay, Melvin Dale Hodges Jr., Herman Copeland, Mildred Copeland, Jenny Clayburg, B.D. Sell, Weller, Vita Farmer, I Go So Sue, Cheryl Harvey, Aunt Charmaine, I Evelyn Theolis Hasbury, Harvey Hasbury Sr., Leonard Dickinson, T.C. Islam, Terrell Dunbar, Will Thomas, Seth Berry, Mark Walsh, Merle B. Thorne, Pearl G. Thorne, Anna Johnson, Florence M. Carter, Joanne Thorne, Erica Tricia Lewis, Juanita Wright, Robert Wright, George Wright, Mary, Eliza Frederick Davis, Mary Elizabeth Rogers, May Esther Keachler Reese, Linda Watson Hammond, Jarrell Giles Watson, Spell, Slimmy Selvin Lewis, Andrew Holmes, Pearl Moore, Percy Moore Jr., Mildred Owens, Booker T. Bolden, Charlie Hunt, Sammy Stover, Hilda Pearson, Sturgeon Thorne, Richard Thorne, Lavinia Hall, Freeman Banks, May Moss, Sophia Peacock, Willie Thorne, Napoleon Kennedy, Mark Ramsey, Paul Ramsey, Matt Ramsey, David Ramsey, Charles E. Thornton. Hold on. Why you got today under Imani? Oh my God! Oh man! All right, let me remember where I'm at. Oh man, hold on. James Farmer, Mary Chavez, Leon Grace, Bessie Johnson, Hannah Levester, Mary Moreland, Paul Moreland, Elder Caleb, Rosemary Martinelli, Amateur Wellman, Fred Douglas Triggs, Senior Thelma Triggs, Thomas and Lula Berry, Lacey Eleanor Howe, Frankie Russell and Davis, Fred Douglas Triggs, the second Vina Triggs, Reverend Ellie Moore, Helen Fuller, Eugene Jackson Sr., Richard Ellis, Silas Alexander, Charles Maxwell, Percy Alexander, Arthur Wendell, Stanley Lockhart, Ricky Lockhart, William Lockhart, Woodrow Lockhart, Brenda Porter, Deacon Hargrove, Carl Parker, Doris Donald, Edis Murphy, D'Amico Russell, Didi Monez, Gina Ruth Jones, Jana Callahan. All right, family, I apologize. On Facebook, I am going to have to shut it down. Facebook, YouTube, all those. Just look out for me. It'll be back up in a second. I have the wrong day up. I had the wrong day up. So I'm going to cut it off and cut it right back on. I just need to change the day. I am sorry. I forgot to do that in advance. All right, peace. I'll be right back. Starting up. All right. Back up. I'm back up. Let me refresh all of the chats. Let me reshare. Good grief. Feel stupid. So I'm back up. Let me go on and what happened here? Need to refresh the screen. It still say we going. Reload. So we gonna finish the list. We did the first half of the list, and we will continue. What's up, Sister Navita? Thank you for joining us. I don't know who that was observing like that, but I want to thank you. Because Brother Hatim's show was lost. Let me see. Me and the boys was just talking about, yeah, I had the wrong day up. You know what? That's dope, man, because the family is recognizing it. Like, Brother Hatim, got the wrong damn day up. I'm surprised nobody ain't say nothing about the shirt I got on. Brother Hatim, got the wrong damn shirt on. That's what y'all supposed to be saying. Brother Hatim, I ain't feel like ironing this morning, so I said, let me grab, because black goes with everything. Black goes with all the days, too. So, I apologize to those that was up, but you know, like I said, man, can't stay up late watching TV with the kids. Well, actually, it was fun because Sasha really enjoyed that show. And, you know, I like it. And I love when I find something that I can watch with at least one of my kids. My other kids is a little bit too old for me to really find anything that they like. So it's all good. So welcome back. Shouts out to Miss Aisha and the family. Shouts out to Miss Navita. We up. Everything is okay. We streaming. Is everybody back in? Is people coming back in? Come back on in, family. Give y'all a second to get together. Because I know like I cut it off. Now it's best to watch me at GNJ Media.live. Once again, that's GNJ Media.live, right? So you're getting a contest. Because after I figure out all this shit, we about to contest it up. We about to do some fundraising. We got an event coming up that I'm going to have to announce. But so let's go and finish saluting the ancestors. So we finished the first half of the first list. So now we move on. We are at William Walter West, Nigel Paris, Elder Basiji Fulani, Jim Robson, Gladys Johnson, Valerie Clark, John and Mary Sullivan, Dirk Johnson, Antonio Johnson, Lise Waters, DePretis Hines, Inez Bostic, Edna Bostic, Winifred Scanabay, Wilson Haley, Emma Hine, Phyllis Lee, Eugene Spratling, Calvin Spratling, Charles Wooden, Penny Brown, Roy Lee Printup Jr., Miriam Johnson, Wilbur Long, Maya Cadney, Janice Carter, Michael Carter, Leon Pina Carter, Margaret Carter, William Carter, Lisa Jordan, Charles Lee Mosley, Dorothy R. Blair, Ransom Evans Sr., Sam Evans Sr., Naylan Blair, Seniors, Edward Stevens, Sue Ann Stevens, Joe Davis, Timothy Butler, Gene Holmes, Dana Jones, Peter Charles, Christy Nichols, Cardinal Robinson, Rosemary Charles, Ada Pearl, Bob Ingalls, Jack Wallace, Warren M. Finch, Warren P. Finch, Tim Ingalls, Audrey Finch, William Billingsley Jr., Jennifer Sensabaugh, Hazel Gaston, Jerry Brantley, Brian Watson Jr., Kaniko Parsons, Jason Kathy Bradford, Thomas Bradley, also known as Uncle Pookie, also known as Gypsy. What does it say? When the convo starts, I really want to get people's input. Okay. Reverend Roosevelt Word the First, Stacey Trice, Frank Smith, Mother Bertha, Michael Leonard, David Brown, Ruth Carter, June Cox, Ruth Cox, Paula Cox, Ronald Urban, Judy Hubbard, Irene Johnson, Francis Booth Jefferson, Dan Wilkinson Sr., Emma McClendon, Jerry Doyle, Mina Robinson, Mary Nichols, Patricia Williams, Shabaka Teray, Greg G2 Gibson, Donna Hill, Richard Gleavis, Lee Irby, Tommy Irby, Boy Irby, Jim Gaucher, George and Hallie Johnson, Archie Margaret Armstead, Diane Scott, Erica Armstrong, Claire Fox, Gene Evans, Archie Beck, Anna McGill, Charles McDaniel, Christine Cottrell, Aunt Becca, Alexander, Arthur Arnold, Hattie Reed, Charles Reed, Eula and Andrew Baker, Patricia and Edwin Brooks, Gwendolyn and Bob Hatch, Kimball Vernon, Bradley Kim, Janie Harriet McKay, Spencer Sturgis, Sally Mae Baker, Ethel Baker, Creola Baker, Geneva Baker, Aaron Eno, Baby Hatch Sr., Mally Miller, Housley Hashtag, Cleveland, Mother Gibson, Alex Nixon, John Bowie, Lester Rachel Saunders, Dorita Ross, Wheeler Ross, Robin Nelson, Francis Stevenson, Leroy Stokes, Nitty Johnson, Fletcher Swan, Maddie and Charlie Scott, Ida Casey, Thomas Cooper, Vivian Stevenson, Mona Ann Lewis, Cornetta Lyman Lewis, John Jackson, William Dallas Lewis, Mary France, Chappelle Jackson, Michael Slade, Joanne Perkins, Richard Jackson, Martha Ford, Dawson, Big Mama, Nanny Harris, Eva Ford, James Harrison, Margaret Childs, Mary Williams, Leroy Q. Heap Senior, Albert Moore, Miss Vanilla, Albert Motley, Jodine Elizabeth, Douglas Thompson, Ertil Houston, Lud Alls, Elijah Alls, Jerome Alls, here West Staten, Joe Jamel Alls, Ann Pierce, Donald Carter, Liddy Green, Nathan Green, Beth Vaughn, John Dewey, Beer, Tim Butler, Raymond Laura Newton, J.B. Froggy, Thomas Newton Sr., Baba Naeem, Janelle Sanders, Jerry C. Sanders, Roy Pruitt, H.J. Browning Sr., Henry Wilson, Rufus Jenkins, Minnie Wilson, Catherine Sanders, Muriel Ellis, Elizabeth Sanders, Henrietta Irby, Mildred Armstead, Margaret Armstead, Catherine Anthony, Ruth Brown, Charles Walker, Sr., Charlie Walker, Cecil Russell, Diane Urban, Haroon Phillips, William Ford, Margaret Logan, Phyllis Barnett, Lee Urban Sr., Michael Urban, Ozella Watson, Hugo Watson, John Caldwell Sr., Robert Lee Caldwell, Nevaeh Mitchell, Ron McCormick Sr., Sabrina Easley, Rayshawn Easy, Javale McCormick, Barbara Ann Reed, Dorothy Ann Reed, John Reed, Chakamaha Reed Jr., John Reed Jr., Patricia Reed, Edward R. Benson Sr., Arthur H. McNair, Lois Fernandez, Jacqueline Broaders, Reginald Oliver, Mazarine Corporal, George Swan, Imani Grayson, Charles Scott, Charles H. Scott, Michael Morgan, Charlene Morgan, Sybil Edwards McNabb, Annie Ferguson, William Ferguson, Shelby McClendon. We also have from the Black Book, Joyla Giles, James Carswell, Roberta Adams, also known as our sis, Elder Shaka McNair, Anthony Brown, Jonathan Ford, Lottie Gaucher, Cousin Tony, Michael Johnson, James Jimmy Johnson, Barbara Shane Lewis, Ronald Sheldon Jr., Damian Top, Stina Banks, Joseph Bingham, Quincy, Mama, Aunt Lady, Abraham Isaac, Cundiff, Aunt Barbara Lewis, Renee Johnson, Joy, Ryan Ross Riggins, Jermonte, Marcus Price, Ness Words, Marshawn McHale, Demetrius Beard, Herb Jefferson, Rob Mickens, Eric Walker, Quay Sample, Candace Simmons, Summer McClain, Leonard Jones, Sade Garner, Melvin Scott Sr., Elder Clarence Lumpkin, Elizabeth Johnson, Frank Smith, Stacey Trice, Denise Goray, Nathaniel Hassan Turner, Khalid is in transition, also known as Nigel Turner. I'm back from she on Facebook parole, was discussing a controversial topic, the N-word factory coined by Arthur Bonacci. Okay, we get on that in a second. Where we at? Boom, boom, boom. I forgot where I left off. Frank Smith, Stacey Trice, Denise Goray, Nathaniel Hassan Turner, Khalid is in transition, Nigel Turner, Demetrius Lewis Flint, Alberta Woods, Geneva Simmons, Daniel Tilley, Angeline Gant, Sharifa, Oscar Kane, Audrey Griffith, Dominique Nichols, Ruthie Lane Johnson, Teresa, Aunt Maxine, Uncle James, Henry Manga III, Tamara Dowdy, Nicole Harris, Julia Taylor, Richard Bozeman II, Ruth Carter, John Carter, Mr. Thornton, Johanna, Cassandra Lynette Lewis, Henderson Mosley, Charles Jordan, Henrietta II, Fania Webb, Dan Walton, Alauti Sue Walton, Emma Walton, James Randolph Giles, Sonny, Pete Walton, William Walton, Fred Powers, Elijah Juan Hakeem and Como, Alberta T. Davis, Charles Davis, Willie R. Mackey, also known as Dr. Creamy Mackey, Victor Bowden, Drusilla Kitty Berger, Lucy White, Robert Lee White, Emma Jean White, Talton, Roger White, R.L. White, Jesse White, Ruby Jewel White, Johnson Carl White, Desi Woods, T.L.R. Woods Lennox, Jim Woods, Lizzie Woods, Juanita Alexander Brown, Cynthia Ann Wright, Richard Dorsey, Annie Simpson, Tamara Simpson, Regina Hopkins, Joseph Simpson, Nettie Dorsey, Eleanor Hopkins, Edward Webster, Alice Webster, Ivy Webster, Arnella Willis, Ethel Lang, Samantha DeMond, Ethel Marshall, Steve Dougie Shelton, William Bill Walker, Carl Rico Johnson, Kim Gray, Stuart A. Johnson, Edward Young III, Isaac Jackson Sr., Drusilla Murrow, Wayne Young, Christina Young, Thomas Young, Frank Murrow, Sylvester Foster, James and Lizzie Winston, Abe and Julia Lawrence, Ozell Leathers Sr., Gladys Crawford, Ozell Leathers Jr. Our list has grown. We raise our glass to all of our ancestors that help us form and build the tribe that we're building. We raise up our glass to those ancestors and we say, I say. From there, family, where do we go? We go to the present moment. We are right now on the day of Umoja. Man, how fast the weekend can go. We raise up our glass to this present moment. Family, I'm asking you, I'm begging you. Turn on them rectangular formations. It's time for us to start finding our principles. Get out there and find Umoja. Where's Umoja? Do you got samples of Umoja that you could post up on Gye-Nyame Journey, the Gye-Nyame Journey page? Do you got memes about Umoja? It's out there. We just got to find them. We got to post them up so that people can see them. Hashtag Umoja, hashtag Umoja found, hashtag Umoja day, or hashtag I'm an Umoja baby, right? So, family, I want to give a round of applause to all of the Umoja babies, by the way. So, for those who haven't figured out, that don't speak the language, Umoja is the day, this day of the week. This is the Umoja day, right, family? And Umoja means unity. The Mighty principle of the day is truth. The color is violet. I don't have violet on me today, But y'all know, y'all get the sentiment, right? The color is violet. Mentalism is the hermetic law of the day. Male name for the day is Kwojo. Female name is Ajua. So we raise up our glass to this present moment, saluting this moment, keeping the pact with our ancestors so that we can keep the promise with our future generations. We raise up our glass. Family, if we're not handling business in the moment, we are betraying both the past and the present. Because in the moment is where the power is. We raise up our glass and we say, Ashe. From there, we move to our children, our children's children, on to infinity. Hopefully, we building space and time for them and leaving them resources, right? So that they can build their monuments to greatness. We raise our glass and we say, Ashe. From there, family, we move to all of our relations and we say, Ashe. From all of our relations, we move to that selfish toast. This is for your beautiful self. What is it that you need right now in this moment to move to the greater you? To fulfill, to get busy in the moment. What do you need? Raise a glass and we say, last but not least, I want to toast the most magnificent, the most marvelous, the most outstanding, the most uplifting, the most inspiring, the wisest, the strongest, the most capable individual in the room right now. Don't be shy. I'm raising my glass to you. Toast yourself. Toast your beautiful self. Step back and kiss yourself. We raise our glass and we salute and we say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. What you gonna do with that?
Huh?
What you gonna do with that?
Put it in the toilet?
All right, don't pour all of it in there. Just a little bit. It don't take a lot. All right, we raise our glass and we say, Ashe. Family. Lines are open, 614-556-4535. Once again, lines are open. 614-556-4535. Family, conversation is on you. What you want to talk about? We got some news on the timeline. Not a lot, but we got some news. Also, I want to make an announcement. We are having Jatawi Family Village presents on February 8, 2019, 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 12 noon free catered lunch, a 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. workshop lecture by our brother Benachi. It's called Breaking Down Racism, the Niggerization of African Americans, How and Why It's Done. Meet the author. It's only $10. We're gonna be having this function over at the Millennium Community School on February 8th. We also got something else going on as well, but like I said, when I get more information about that, we'll talk about that. But right now, we want to talk about this book by the author, Brother Benachi, Breaking Down Racism, the Niggerization of African Americans, How and Why It's Done. Actually, that's not even the title. Hold on. I need my glasses. I'm going to read the title. Don't have to kiss myself when I walked outside. Ra, the Most High, kissed me all over. What little of my face I had showing. All right, go ahead, Brother Kwame. All right, hold on. This is a long title. The title's so long I gotta put on glasses. Deconstructing aspects of the social construction of race and racism in Western culture. How and why African Americans are educated into a state of dumbness by America's nigger factories, highlighting the need for African-centered education by Akinde Bonachi Montgomery. Woo! Damn, that's a long title, but it sounds like it's going to be a good talk. But we got somebody on the line.
That's a mouthful. It's a mouthful.
Shit, that's more than a mouthful. That's 2 mouthfuls. I'm still stumbling. Let me turn you up a little bit so the people can hear you. But family, we want to know, I mean, like I said, what's on your mind? Because there's some stuff going on out there. Some people call in and talk about Martin Luther King and some of his strategies or some of his views. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that we could talk about today. Today is your day. What's up? Go ahead, Sister Navita. What's going on?
Well, I want to talk about, the fact that I was booted off of Facebook for the use of the term, the N-word. Now, I've used that term on social media, Facebook, on several occasions, whether it's included within a meme, whether I'm saying, calling someone else that in a loving way, and I've even seen people use it in a not so loving way. And then there's no repercussions behind it. But as soon as I use the word in the attempt to educate, I get put in Facebook jail.
Man.
And I think a lot of people were offended by the term nigger factory that Benacci had used. And I would like for you to share, if you could, what do you think he means within that context, a nigger factory is, and why would that not be offensive to you?
Well, it's not offensive to me because I have a understanding of what the brother mean, because I see it. I have been part of it. I have been pushed through it. And we all know that there is when we talk about a nigger factory, we know that there are.
You know where the mop is?
Probably down the basement. It ain't right here on my show, baby. Real life here, Gye-Nyame Journey. Real life. Right? So we know that these structures are set up. And because on a piece that I'm writing, one of the things that I was looking at was that our culture, and I think I talked about this on the show yesterday, our culture has been made to be service to another culture. So in order for us to be of service to the other culture, there has to be institutions and things that we go through that educate us away from ourselves and make us more palatable and more serviceable to other cultures. So niggerization is you being moved outside of yourself, overlooking your interests and looking at the interests of the world, which you know what I'm saying? So I don't have a disagreement with the title. You know what I'm saying? It's just long, other than it being long, but other than that, I understand perfectly, because you can see it. You can see it in media. I mean, you can hear it. You can read about it. You see it, and many of us are still in the process that the brother is talking about. And I don't think they put you off because it was offensive. I think they put you off because of the conversation that it could spark and the possibility of you maybe being able to create or break a couple of people free from the nigger factory. I'm probably about to get blocked now too, huh? Thanks a lot, Navita, goddammit. You always...
I've been trying to N-word it, but you're on audio, man. I don't know if and you're coming from you are on, I don't think they'll get you. I don't think they're going to get you on the audio side of the game.
Miss Cynthia says she is not familiar with this particular piece of Elder's work. Can you give a brief overview? I haven't read the book, so I'm going to leave that to Navita, or even Brother Kwame could call in, because, from what I hear, my man is a dynamic educator, because I know for a fact that not only in dealing with this subject of breaking down racism, right, and deconstructing the aspects of the social construction of race and racism, I know this brother also teaches the mental netter. You know what I'm saying? Because we got people within our collective that take it from it. But she asked a question about a brief overview of the book.
Okay, well, we just started the book, but basically where we are in the book is he is explaining, I need the title in front of me, but he basically is explaining the system and how it's working and what it's doing, and then how this N-word factory is produced through this system, and what we can do to combat this type of behavior. And that's why he says there's an emphasis on African-centered education so that you can combat some of this N-word factory behavior, or the niggerization of an American African.
So it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be well worth it. Now, seats are limited. We got limited seating and lunch included for those that get there. The price is $10. This will be going down February the 8th over at the Millennium Community School. So come on out, support the efforts. And then also you might be able to learn, you're going to learn something anyway every time we do something, because I try to jam-pack everything that we do and try to make sure that there's a lot going on, because we just, like I said, we just had the Warrior training. We got it up and running again for the 2020. We got the Banachi piece coming up through the Tawee Family Village. There's a George Washington Carver. I can't remember what it's called. George Washington Carver is a piece around urban farming and social justice that's also going to be popping off on that day. We got the Malcolm X Festival popping up in May, and we're gonna be moving hard towards raising funds for that. And then also, it's a whole bunch of stuff that we're trying to do within this year. But you got anything else you want to discuss, or you didn't get the answer you wanted? Because Sister Navita really want to get to the bottom, because she is tired of being persecuted and thrown into Facebook purgatory.
Well, I thought that it was kind of, by reading the title, I thought the explanation of an N-word factory was pretty self-explanatory, and it wasn't meant to throw black, to say, in other words, I'm calling black people N-words. No, that's not what it was meant. It was talking about the production of a certain type of a black person that the system produces. And one thing Elder West said to me is that I told him people didn't understand what was meant by the term nigger factory, and he said that he felt they understood.
I do too.
That's not what angered them.
That's
it's
right.
just that they were putting the mirror in front of themselves, and they didn't like being called that.
Or they ain't like what they, right. They didn't like what they was hearing, so it made them uncomfortable. So what you ran into, Sister Navita, is called fake outrage. You know what I'm saying? And also you ran into the product of this factory, because like I said, one of the major things that has to happen in order for this process to work is for those involved to stay asleep. So you can't have nobody necessarily rocking the boat. You bold enough to throw it up there on your page and be like, look at it. Look. You know what I'm saying? You don't be shy about your shit. I try to be slick. You don't be shy with it. You know what I'm saying? And you ought to be committed for that. And like I said, we at Gye-Nyame, we got those we got that bail money for to try to get you out of Facebook prison and get you, because it's actual people. She's not the only one. You know what I'm saying? Because I want y'all to think about the depths of what she's saying. When she used the word nigger in one way, it wasn't an issue. But when she used it in this way, in a way that wasn't talking about a term of endearment, wasn't in the form of an insult, it was in the form of education. And education in the sense of solving a problem. Not the shit that you buying, that they send you to California. It was in a manner to help solve a problem, which is what education is supposed to be for. And education is supposed to push you towards solving problems for your people. So soon as Sister Navita used that word in the form of helping people solve problems, it became a problem. Brother Kwame said, is there an algorithm for determining how many reports on a didn't hear the response to the algorithmic question? Could you repeat? Is there an algorithm for determining how many reports? I don't know. Facebook protects Sister CeeLo. Shouts out to CeeLo. She say Facebook protects white supremacy. It's a child of it. What else is it supposed to do?
That's right.
What else is this? I mean, everything around us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I want you to connect what a nigger factory is. Give me an example, just not saying what it is, but bring it up today. Give me an example of a modern day nigger factory.
RCA.
RCA, what the hell is that?
Well, I mean, I'm old. The record company, nigga. Record companies. You know what I'm saying? Record companies.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Music video. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Love and hip hop.
Oh man, see, yeah, love and hip hop is obvious, but let's go to some of the less obvious shows out there that are nigger factories. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because what show was I watching? I was watching Watchmen. I was watching The Watchmen.
Okay, someone gave me that to watch. Oh, dang.
That shit's good.
Tell me about it.
All right, now The Watchmen.
I got one of my white co-workers recorded the whole season on a thumb drive and told me I needed to watch it.
You need to watch it. But you got to see, because what they do, they bring you in, they get you, and you like, yeah, then all of a sudden, right in the middle, they hit you with some deep fuckery, and you was running fast, and it's like, and then you know what I'm saying? So, but even in that show, there's a little bit of the fuckery in there, right? So when we talk about nigger factory, we're talking about the call-in line. CeeLo is 614-556-4535. So Sister Cynthia Johnson say professional sports is part of school systems.
Okay, Sister Cynthia.
TV programming, churches. Brother Kwame says, choose an example. Somebody else is on the line. It's got to be CeeLo.
Hello, it's CeeLo. What's up?
What's going on?
Hey, CeeLo.
What's up, y'all?
Well,
yeah, I'm on the road. I'm on my way back from the Yo.
Okay.
Yeah, came up here to check out some of my people.
Hey, that's what we supposed to do.
Well, this author wrote this book in 2019. So this is a fairly new book. He has a couple of other books as well, but he breaks down, from what I have seen thus far, he brings a lot of stuff in that we are dealing with today. So you don't have to be pulling necessarily back. You can get with a younger generation and they can read this book and definitely relate to what he's talking about, because he's using current references.
Yeah, but see, and I called to participate in the conversation because you notice whenever you posting stuff that isn't necessarily informative.
Y'all gonna mop right there. Move all that stuff out of there.
But you posting things that are N-wordish, in my opinion. There's a number of things that I simply will not post because even if it's supposed to be
help her move the shoe back out of there. Move all the shoes and stuff. Close that closet.
I don't post anything that does not present us in a positive light. All those other idiosyncrasies, I'd rather have those offline, messenger discussions, or share the post in Messenger, because see, they'll let you post all the N-word and stuff all day long. You know, and some people go, well, it's just funny. Well, it ain't funny to me. None of that's funny to me. Anything that, even if it's like a news story about, black folks behaving inappropriately, I don't post it.
Right.
I share a lot of stuff in Messenger because they will let you post that other stuff all day long. And it's just like when the show In Living Color was on the air, I didn't like that show. You want to know why I didn't like that show? Because if you look at the skits and everything that was on that show, the Homeboy Shopping Network, all the stuff was stolen. Those two flaming fags for doing the movie review.
Hey.
Any of that negative agenda of the black folk stuff, but see, a black person was writing it and producing it. So we as black people were happy about it being on the air, but quite frankly, I was glad when they took it off.
So in other words, she's saying that I guess In Living Color really was a product of the nigger factory.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a cool show. It was coonery.
When you think about it, I never thought about it like that.
Well, that's absolutely what it was. And any of that stuff, I don't like to see it. I'm not gonna promote it. But see, that's what they want us to do, and that's what. You know, and so I cringe a lot of times when I see stuff that we post because, and you notice they won't ever put you in Facebook jail for that. That right there should give you a good indication of maybe I shouldn't be posting this. Because anything that's a story about us doing some inappropriate behavior, cooning, and everything else, they're okay with that. They don't pull none of that down.
Right.
They don't throw you in Facebook jail. They now I'll post some pictures of some white folks doing what they do, but guess what? That's what's led to me in Facebook jail. Because
I've been in Facebook jail for several times, but that's
they're going to protect white supremacy. They are going to protect white supremacy. And you're not going to post up no stuff of them doing stuff, inappropriate, negative stuff. They will throw you in Facebook jail for that. And then if you are posting something that's enlightening to black folks, talking about what they do, all the modern day Jim Crowism, and the whole thing, well, that's the past. No, it's not the past. Y'all still doing all of it. Y'all just institutionalized it. Y'all have systematically implanted it into society, but you all are still oppressing us.
And see, the thing about, and I've been in Facebook jail umpteen million times so far. But there's a method to my madness behind what I post. But the thing about it is that it's unfortunate, like you said. But the system is portraying what it's supposed to do. Because just like with Facebook, I've been kicked off for several things. Usually it's hate speech, and it's usually not with the N-word. It's usually the other way around. They're saying I promoted some type of hate speech or inappropriate commentary that I posted.
Calling them out on their behavior. Uh-huh.
Right. But, we'll have, I just thought about that, the guy that brother was murdered by the white police officer and him wanting to hug and the judge wanting to hug. That is a product of a nigger factory. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. But that's the stuff we're supposed to do. We are supposed to show civility to our oppressors. That's the good Negro behavior that they want to promote. That's the stuff that, when that Darren Root went inside of that church, them black folks talking about, oh, we forgive him. You know what?
Right.
How about let's say we figure out how to kill that mofo. How about that? No.
Right.
That's the problem. And see, and but what happens is, and I got into it with several black folks, because they were saying, oh, that's good. He's being a good Christian. I was like, man, fuck y'all. And Jesus too. So, see.
Not Jesus.
Lord.
No, not white Jesus. Not white Jesus. But see, that's what that is for. And any Negro that bucks it and says, no, we should not be forgiving no mofos for that. You killed my brother, I'm going to kill you. And see, and they let that play out.
Right.
The day before they sentenced her. And he even said, these were his words, I don't don't want to see you be punished. I don't want you to get any jail time.
Who said that? Wait, what was this?
Ran that when they
the brother said that.
Who?
The brother said that.
Oh, you talking about Bakum John?
His brother, right?
Right.
Yeah, Bakum John.
That, but
before he asked to hug her, these were his words. So when they rammed that 10-year sentence down our throat for her slaughtering of that man in his own apartment, what can we say? His own brother said she shouldn't be punished for it.
Finish cleaning this up now.
Right.
Get that shit over there.
And they let that play out the day before they were going to pin down her sentence because they knew they weren't going to punish her the way she should have been punished. But they trotted out the Negroes, and if you watch any other outlets, they actually had his father on as well. And his father said, yeah, I agree with my son that she should be forgiven. But you know who you didn't see? The mother. The mother didn't agree with all that bullshit.
Yeah, she wasn't on that shit.
I don't know about that.
Unfortunately, so with all that, they dismissed the civil suit. They weren't even allowed to get civil justice because of that coonery that they performed in the courtroom.
Right.
They said, "Oh, it's okay.
In our own way.
It's okay." Now, right. So all of that played out in the order and the way that it was supposed to, and see that's the problem that I have with Negroes and this whole. Forgive and forget and be good Christians. But that's what that brings you to. That is the whole reason why Christianity was brought into the entire thing. If you go to the coast of Africa and you visit those slave castles, in each one of them is a chapel. The lower level, the dungeon, is where they locked them up until they were ready to process them and put them on the ship. But in those slave castles was chapels, and that's where they got their first indoctrination into Christianity, because that was the way to subdue and subjugate the Africans. Because when you tell a people that a white deity is supreme to them, and it subjugates everything in that African to everything and anything white. Christianity was for no other reason, because believe it or not, a whole lot more. When they first started the transatlantic slave trade, a whole lot of them fought that. There was a whole lot of them did. And they said, well, we got to figure out, we got to cut the edge on these Africans. These motherfuckers ain't trying to be down with this. So before we even put them on the boat, let's try and break them down spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, to a way that makes them a lot more pliable for us to deal with. And Christianity was what they came up with to do that.
Well, that was only one. It was a whole lot of other stuff that was used as well.
It was one, but that was the best one. Because
I don't know.
It's working. It's still working. It's still working.
There's a lot of stuff still working. Christianity ain't the only one.
Like what? Give us some examples, my friend. My friend, elaborate.
Education.
Because, but what is education? Because once you convince them that white is superior, everything else falls in line behind that.
But hold on.
The white education system comes out of the Christianity indoctrination.
Hold on. Now I'm going to say this. The white superiority is in everything, not just the religion.
Absolutely.
So that would, because all of us didn't accept that.
God, you change the people. When those people no longer
you can't put the carpet down when it's wet, baby. I'm sorry, real life here, Gye-Nyame Jeremy. Sasha trying to do some stuff. Real life. Go ahead.
Oh, but when you say to a people, when you change their God, you change their whole orientation.
Right.
Everything else white becomes more acceptable, whether it's through the education system. When you change a people's God, when you say to those people, no, it is not your ancestors, it is not the creator that you have chosen, it's a white supreme being. A white deity is responsible for your every breath. You're here because of a white savior. You change everything else that flows from them after that. They accept everything else after that, whether it be the education system, the miseducation system, because at the end of the day, if the white man is giving it to you, then it must be all right. It's the white, because if your God is white, everything else in you subjugates itself to anything that is white.
So what do the rest of y'all think? We got some other people on here. When we was asking for examples, we got Cynthia Johnson says Popeye chicken sandwiches. Got us acting like.
Oh yes, that's definitely one. Cynthia hitting them on the head. That's definitely one.
Tara House.
But who owns Popeye?
We know who owns Popeye.
Some white Canadians.
I can go. I'll go check who it is.
No, you won't. Keep on going. I'm listening.
Canadians own Popeye.
Okay, let's see.
I'm just going to die.
How you doing?
Pest control man.
Oh God. Okay.
Listen, he done walked off. Did he walk off?
Yeah, I'm still here. Go ahead.
But the minute we present something to our people, we are automatically distrusted. They got to question it. They got to research it. You know, and my question to them is, so what do you think the African was doing before they ever got on anyone? You really believe we was praying to a white Jesus? What do you really think the African was doing?
Well, Tim, what do you think?
Some of them have been indoctrinated so hard. Some of them have told me this. Essentially, we were heathens and savages, and the white man saved us from ourselves.
Yes, I've been told that before. Mm-hmm.
There are many, because like I said, when you change a people's God, you change the people.
That's definitely
So
some nigger factory shit right there.
So hold on. Now Tara Hassa says FB and Instagram only exist so that they can be in your business anyway. This is in response to what you were saying, Navita, about you being in Facebook jail. They are herding sheep. Kwame says in response to the Botham John issue, not even a God forgives without being petitioned to do so. And Terhasa states again, herding sheep. If you check on the screen, you can see the comments coming in from the fam. So now you saying that the bottom line is once you change the God of a people, you change the people. Right?
You do, all day long. In everything and in all things. If you don't see yourself and you don't see your people or someone that looks like you as the supreme and guiding force and life force, what else happens? Anything else that's presented to you from the other side, and anything presented to you from black people is automatically pushed up against. When we try to talk to our people about us, about being black, I have had black people argue me down that they ain't African. They are Americans, quote unquote. I'm like, seriously? Really? That's what you want to be?
Hold on.
Because everything in you becomes that whether you are conscious of it or not. And I really wish you guys would have been down in Cincinnati when David Banner was down there. This has been about 3 years ago now. David Banner, he explained it really well. He said, you don't even know it, but when you see a black person, you see something bad. It's something deep inside you. And then I get technicolor Jesus. There's black people that'll say to me, well, no, Jesus really was black. No, he wasn't. Okay, the Jesus that you were introduced to, that you were indoctrinated into, the thousands of images you saw before you were even 5 years old was a white man. And if you later on decided that Jesus was black, you technicolored him, okay, that's all right. But the problem with that is the indoctrinated spirit of you is subjugated to white already.
So how do you deal with
it's
that?
Already subjugated to white.
So now this.
How do you deal with it?
Well, hold on. Before
He's going to break down some of that stuff on. Go ahead.
How do we deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, because really, because now you painted.
That's the hard part.
See,
that's the hard part.
Because because one of the issues.
Some of us wake up and come up out of it. Some of us do. I mean, trust me, I was raised hardcore, man. I went hard to take Jesus, man. I was raised hardcore Baptist, okay? I was definitely. I have to say,
close the door, G.
You guys some pictures.
Lock it.
That's from my church lady days, okay? I was a good little Christian girl. I really was. But at some point, some of us come up out of it. Some of us get woke up, some of us don't. And I don't believe that everybody is going to at some point.
But hey, now that's one of the pieces where I'm at. That's where I'm talking about. That's why I start talking about Tribe Up. Because you can't be looking for everybody to make this change. Now, but hold on. Now, what I am going to say is that what you are giving is one of the engines of this factory, this N-word factory, because we done used the term so many times. I'm quite sure I done reached the limit on it. But what? Yes. My kids keep on interrupting my thoughts. I done had people in the house and all that shit. So hold on. So this is a prime example of the factory. This is one of the foundations of this factory, and we got to figure out some of the solutions, even though we haven't, because a lot of times we can discuss the problems, but what's the solution to that? How do we deal with that? And this is what we kind of bring in different speakers here to kind of discuss with us about solving this problem, because a majority of people don't even see it as a problem. What can those people do? What can those people do that don't see it, that already see what you're talking about? Because the majority of us already agree with you in many ways. Now, there's a few pieces I can pick out of there and kind of argue with. But in the larger scheme of things, I understand what you're saying. But we're talking to an audience in most cases that have already came there. They wouldn't even stop to even listen to a dude like me to sing a song about toasting ancestors. You know what I'm saying? So we in a group where we beyond that. But hold on, we got some other callers on the line. Sound like, wow, it's packed. So we got somebody calling from 937.
No, this is Elder Phyllis. I got the call from Navita.
Oh, you got the call. Oh, Navita, Texas. She got So we got Brother Bonacci coming. And we talking about Tawi Family Presents Tawi Family Village on February 8, 2019, 10 a.m. Meet and greet. 12
Not
noon.
2019, 2020.
Yeah, 2020. I printed up the wrong one.
Come on, bro. Get in the right year.
Hold on.
I keep telling him it's 2020.
Man,
but I wanted somebody to hopefully call who's in the book class who can elaborate a little bit about, other than myself, than what we have read thus far, what the brother is talking about. Go ahead, Elder Phyllis, please, and thank you.
But what is it you want to know? Because I missed that.
We're talking about Brother Bonacci. We just having a discussion about his whole concept of this nigger factory. You know what I'm saying? Well, I haven't
been coming to the classes.
All right.
So I've just started reading the book on my own, so I don't go to ASCAP.
All right, we got.
But that's all right.
I thought you had, in the video, I thought you had a very personal question. So I was trying to respond because when you said you needed to know about the Bonacci, Alona is the one that has more detailed information about him than I do.
And you know, just to give people an idea, you could read the back of the book, and it gives you a little bio on Bonacci. But I will come from this perspective. Bonacci has been studying the Meta Nature for over 30-something years, and probably going on close to 40 at this point. In fact, it is going on closer to 40 at this point. And many of us in this discussion are, just 50 years, or we've just clipped 50 years. So this brother's been studying the Meta Nature for over 80% of our lives, damn near. So that's my first comment. The second one is this, that in his cumulative studies of the Meta Nature and how it's opened up his way of thinking, what is revealed in this book that we're speaking of is one of the ways in which it manifests all that he's learned and how it's opened up his eyes. Another one of his books, which I'm not going to really talk about, but it deals with how learning the Meta Nature becomes very applicable for us. Now, no, I don't expect anyone and everyone to go out and try to learn the Meta Nature as such. But this has to be taken into consideration when you hear this brother or when you read his book. And the last comment I'll make, at least for the moment, is that when a lot of times the word spirituality and things like that are spoken of, these ideas in many respects become foreign ideas to how he understood the Kemetic people to think. And that'll be a treat. And then my last statement, I'll let Elder Phillips carry it away from here. On the other hand, Brother Mfudishi, and I know I think we've read one of his books or a couple. Do you know how long he's been studying the Meta Nature, Elder Phillips?
I don't know how long, but a long time. I think I think he's been studying maybe longer than Bonacci, because Elder Oripiaki studied under him when he lived in, I think Oripiaki lived in New York or New Jersey somewhere, but he studied under Infodisi years ago. Mm-hmm. But, I don't really know. I'm just off the top of my head.
And we start talking about, and I know, this is Negro talk here. When we start talking about the pedigree of, people's so-called education, for Mario, Bonacci, there's several others, but the names aren't coming to me presently. But they're coming under the tutelage of, and a close and personal tutelage of, the likes of Theophila Benga, Raketti. I'm coming back. So
okay, well,
go ahead, take it away, Mama.
Hello?
All I was going to say was I've always been taught that you go to the white universities to get their education so you can understand how it is that they think and they do things. That was supposed to be the sole purpose of going from an Afrocentric perspective. And some of us just got caught up in it and didn't do that, didn't turn it around. They became them in some ways. You know, they believed what they were learning, and that's what they chose to practice, and that from that perspective.
I'm gonna close that door. Close that door, please. I want to push back on that a little bit, because one of the issues that I think we have in our culture is that we have not embraced the economic aspect of culture. Let me say this.
The economic aspect of culture.
The economic, because culture, one of the pieces that a lot of times I think we miss, that in culture, economics is a major piece. You don't have a culture if you don't have an economic system. That means that the culture has to be able to provide.
Well, you need to define culture then.
Why?
Or define what you're saying. Break it down.
Define. All right, cool.
So culture is a way. I thought just a way of people do things. Well, some people can have a broke ass culture.
No. Listen. All right. So you say a way people do things. What do most of the things that we do? What do we do them around? Either come on now. So, because it's like we say culture and I don't even know if we get deep with it anymore. It's like, I say economics, we don't understand that in order for a culture, the major reason for a culture to even form is so that the people can survive. That means there has to be some marketing and some markets and some exchange going on in there, right? You said a broke ass culture. The only people with a broke ass culture is a people that don't no longer exist. You can't have a culture that is not based in some form of fashion, or in its core does not have some type of economic structure in there. We form cultures.
Yeah, but the economic structure can be on the good side or the bad side. People who are from Appalachia.
From Appalachia?
They have a broke-ass culture.
Wait, time out. Do they own land? Do they control land? Do they fight to control land? Are they able to exist off that land?
Why do you sound so far away, bro?
No, somebody is dragging something on the phone or got a window open or something. I don't.
Okay, there we go.
So what I'm saying is, do they own land? Do they control some type of resources in that culture? Is that culture what you call poor? Do they still?
I feel like people can have a culture and be broke at the same time. I don't think that if you are broke, that means you are cultureless.
Wait.
I don't think if your culture
all right, cool. So now,
now the way your culture operates may depend upon the economic development of that culture. But you can still have a culture and be economically.
When you say broke, what do you mean?
Say what?
When you say broke, what do you mean? Because the only point I'm trying to make is that if a culture is going to survive, it has to, in some form or fashion, provide for those people to keep it alive. Because human beings will not continue holding on to something that in some form that is not providing for them. My fault. Black folks do it all the time. So I have to stand corrected. We hold on to plenty of practices that do not benefit us, but benefit our masters. What the hell is? Oh my God! Hold on.
Because I can't hear you, Hot Tim. I don't know what that.
Now, so when you say broke, what do you mean? Because like individuals in Appalachia.
Well, it could be. Let me just say this. I don't not broke. I don't feel that the fact that you have a culture is contingent upon how much money you have.
Yeah, no. See, hold on. Hold on. No.
Tribal people who may not have economic base.
You can't have a tribe if you don't have an economic base. You don't listen. You are
I didn't say
confusing.
tribe. I said
What you
yes, I
say?
believe you still can have a tribe. You can have a broke-ass tribe. Or a
Oh, my
tribe
God.
that's not.
What are you
I
talking
think
about
and
when
I
you say
redefine
broke?
culture by two different things.
No.
Because people
See,
in
but
this
that's part of the
country,
problem.
we have a culture. People
That's
try to
part of the
say that we
problem.
as a people don't have a culture.
That's part of the problem. When we say culture, we exclude the economic piece out of that. You can't exclude economics outside the culture of white supremacy. You can't exclude that. That is part of it. You can't, and in our culture, we always,
I'm telling you that you can have a culture. There's a different culture.
No.
You can have it. You can have culture with it or without
Without
it.
economics.
It's better.
Without
you will
it.
have a more lucrative culture if you have the economic empowerment within that culture. However, there are cultures that exist that are economically deprived.
Navita.
Permission to speak.
Go ahead.
To speak, man.
Go ahead, Kwame.
So, really, what I'm hearing is that you guys are arguing the same point, but from two different perspectives. Hatim, I think where it gets lost is that when one understands economics, and again, forgive me for going Greek on you, but it comes from two words, ekoi, nomos. And that's the law of the household.
The law of the house.
In terms of how a quote-unquote household is governed, is the economic piece. And really what we're talking about is what are the resources, how are they obtained to maintain that tribe, family, and the quote-unquote culture at large.
That's all I'm trying.
Let me ask you this.
That's the only point I'm
trying to make.
Are you
trying to say that people who are on the lower economic level and don't have an economic empowerment, they have no culture? Is that what you're saying?
Now, let me. Listen.
That's not what I'm hearing.
No, see, and this.
That's what I'm hearing because you have to have that economic empowerment.
You're not hearing
to
it
have
because
a culture. He said.
You do.
Okay.
You do. How do you have a culture without some type of economic element? See, but I'm keep on trying to get you to define what do you mean by broke. See, because I know people who don't wait. Stop.
Broke is not even the aspect of the conversation. You're focusing on something that doesn't have to do with the.
Navita, you are
basing on a person's culture on their economic status, whether they have it or not.
Navita, you brought up the term broke several times, baby. Now you saying it's not about broke. I was asking you to define that.
Well, I'm saying, okay, broke meaning that you on a lower economic chain.
All right, what do you mean? Now, hold on, cool. On a lower economic chain meaning what? Because if you let me finish, I could tell you what I mean. See, because you keep jumping in, you won't let me finish.
Go ahead.
So, I know, how can I put it? You could know of people who might have the money, but also have other resources that they survive off of. They have some type of resources that they are able to exchange to stay alive. It don't matter how much money you got. It's about what resources you control. That's economics. We started throwing the money into it, and we think that, because we think that because I could look at you, how you living, I could judge you. We do that here. In other places where people control resources, they control land, and they have access to resources, but they might not have access to all the junk that we got. But we'll call them broke. Like I told you, I told people all the time when I was in Ghana, I would walk by people outside sweeping dust in front of their house. It's their property. Me being American renting would look at them and be like, damn, this motherfucker sweeping dust. He must be broke. No, they're sweeping their property. It's their property. And they are able to pull stuff up off their property. Go ahead.
A person decides to go and practice someone else's culture.
Right. Which we do.
And people can practice
Other people's culture.
assimilate or whatever other
Right.
cultures, but not have that financial or that economic or resource benefit. Does that mean that they're not practicing the culture, though?
So they adopted, you saying they went into somebody's culture, they adopted that culture, but they bring nothing economic to that culture or receiving anything from that culture?
No, I said they're not receiving the economic benefits of that culture. They have taken on someone else's culture, but they're not receiving the economic benefits of that.
Are they a slave?
I got quick.
Are they a
Brother
slave?
Hakim.
Yes.
You know, after you answer Navita's question, give her Philippe Jacques' notion of the frequency and how that, like, and what impression he got from, like, how he might describe someone like an Oprah or what's his name, the comedian who went big,
Kevin Hart.
No.
Not him. The other one who went big before him. The one they used to always beef. It seems.
They went to Africa?
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
Oh, okay.
So I gotta go back and pull that
I'm
up.
going to tell you now, you're not going to ever come, because to my definition of culture, or how it's been explained to me, is it's simply and merely the way a person does a thing.
A way a person.
Now, what is your definition
Of culture?
of a culture?
Of a culture? A culture.
Because you don't think people can have a quote-unquote broke mentality? Is that not a culture, a way of doing things?
Now, hold on. I go back and I ask you, what do you mean by broke? What do you mean by broke?
I told you already.
No, you didn't. What do you mean by broke?
I did tell you.
No, you didn't.
I'm going to tell you again. This time register it in your...
Stop.
Shit, register it this time. I told you it means...
Stop.
Do you want me to tell you? Now you just told me to answer you, and now you tell me to stop.
Hold on. If you told me,
do you
then
want me to tell you what it means?
I'm just trying to help you. Because if you are right, then that means I'm not listening. And I want to apologize to you for not listening. So if you told me, other people on the line were able to hear it. Because somebody tell me what she said broke was.
Can you tell me what I said broke was, Brother Kwame? Because I did answer it.
Excuse me, you answered it, but repeat it for Brother Hakim because he's been a little distracted.
Okay, I know I answered it, so I did answer it. Did you hear that, Hakim?
He didn't give me an answer. He was nice. If you gave it,
I did answer it. He said,
but he wasn't able to tell me what it was.
No. Here's what it is, Navita. It's that
I answered it. Let me answer it again. I said broke is being on the lower economic level. Now that's the second time I said. I told you that the first time.
Being on a lower
I didn't answer you at all, but you asked me later on,
level.
and I did answer it for you. Being on the lower economic level is what being broke is.
Being on a lower economic level.
That's what my definition. What I was resonating with.
Okay. Being on a lower economic level. So go ahead, finish saying what you were saying.
And it goes a little bit more deeper into that, but I'm not.
I know it ain't deeper.
Basically,
right?
in short.
Okay, hold on. Go ahead. Were you done or you want?
But I don't think it's up you're going to convince me to make me think because of my definition of culture.
Baby,
to make me think that people cannot have a culture if they're economically deprived in some type of way. I don't think that's true.
You know, so you saying that there can be a culture if there's no economic system?
There could be
there's no form of exchange.
Economically deprived. That system could be on the higher level.
Well, I can hear you.
Lower level.
I can close your window or something. Hold on.
You could be on the higher level or you could be on the lower level.
Go ahead. Hold on.
Can I speak?
Go ahead. You got to turn down whatever's behind you.
Nothing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Christine.
Okay.
I can hear.
Okay. The customs, the arts, the social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation people or other social group is culture. But with that, or rather without that, without the economics, the culture becomes what we are now, dysfunctional in our
We have a
cultural
dysfunctional
execution.
culture.
We are dysfunctional because of the lack of the economic basis, because of our failure to own or control anything. That leaves us at the mercy of the other system, and that impacts our culture and our ability to fully manifest our culture, because we have to depend on other resources, other means of income, other means of making a livelihood. So that creates a dysfunction in us being able to have the unity, us being able to self-determine ourselves, us being able to cooperate in our economics, because of the lack of that ownership and control of our economic system and our resources. And there is the dysfunction. We have a culture. We have our customs. We have our arts. We have our social institutions, our achievements of our nation, of our people, and our social group. But because of the lack of the economics, therein comes the dysfunction.
And that's what I said.
That ain't what you said.
They still have a culture. No, I said they still have a culture. But it could be on the lower end, or it could be on the even not. That's just what I said.
Mathematically, we would express this as, the greater the dependence the dependence of a people's resources coming from outside translates into I had a stronger statement, but I'll just sum it up by saying the weaker the culture. So the greater the reliance on someone else's provision, the weaker the culture.
Right. We can't even educate our own children. We can't even, we don't have to.
And even sometimes, not only is the culture weak because of the economic piece, the culture still exists, but it may be a weaker culture, it may be a dysfunctional culture. The culture is still there. And it may be even a simulated culture. Because we don't have the economic piece, but the culture is still there.
We have to be careful though, because without that, and that's why we need to make the establishment of the economic piece a priority, because it continues to weaken and
it does.
Economics
it should not be a part of the culture. I said that the culture still does exist even without that economic piece. Now, the type of culture you get, it may be fucked up, but the culture in itself still will exist.
But
so
in order for it to
have that economic piece on a higher scale, but we will still, even if it's on a lower scale, as far as the economic or quote-unquote broke, the culture is going to be there, maybe fucked up.
Listen, I'm gonna disagree, and we can agree to disagree, because I'm like this: arts, social institutions, achievements, all those things lie on the foundation of some type of resource. Cultures form up around resources, and the culture is supposed to protect and provide for the people. And that's what I was trying to get to when the elder talked about, when we said something about going into the institutions to learn, so that we could figure out how their systems work. We have not been able to really do that, because even when we go into their institutions, when we come out, we can't come out to nothing, because our culture is not able to provide for us right now. Right. So we get stuck in that shit.
So we have to continue to lead ourselves.
But somehow you're not. That's not. I think we're saying the same thing, but somehow that's not resonating with you then, because I'm saying the same thing.
No, yes, you are saying the same thing. You guys are coming at it from two different perspectives, and that's why both of you guys, you got to loosen up. you got to loosen up because earlier, if Tim had been reading some of the comments, I mean, that's why I was trying to get us to express these ideas from all those different aspects of our those disciplines that Neely Fuller Jr. gives us. You know, from the economic, education, entertainment, labor law, religion,
Education,
politics, war. You
Politics,
know,
religion,
all those
sex,
different
war.
aspects play heavily on what our culture has devolved into.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, he talking.
Yeah, I really, I'm going to go out and I'm going to post it up, but I really like the way that, oh God, his name's Claude Anderson. Claude Anderson, you know, he really stresses the importance of our economic failures to own and control anything, and how that is going to result in the destruction and the de-evolution of our culture.
For sure. Well, the evolution of, because otherwise we'll have a, for lack of a better term, fucked up culture. The culture doesn't disappear because we don't have the financial wherewithal. It morphs into something that we are not so, that may not be very productive or proud of. So it's important.
That's why I'm having a problem right there.
Do have the economic empowerment so we can have a control over what our culture is going to be. But I don't think because we don't have the economic wherewithal that our culture somehow may disappear as a whole. I don't believe that. I think we take on some fucked up ways. And then that soon becomes the culture because we don't have the economics to
hear me backwards
do
or something.
otherwise.
All right. So, what's next?
Which is basically what you're saying.
Now, but I will say this about economics. Economics, once again, economics without politics is like going into a whorehouse expecting not to get burnt. You need one to work with the other. You need both of them, they got to work hand in hand. I'm just going to put that out there too. Actually, you need all these aspects of culture. What Kwame was talking about.
You're saying that we should be involved with politics, Brother Hatim? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, hell yeah. If we're gonna be dealing with money, because it's politics that determine how much taxes you pay, or what fees you have to pay to get into a business. Or hell, or even control the roads that come up to your goddamn business.
Which Bernanke talks about that in this book. He started to just touch on it as we, on the last chapter, we haven't got fully into it, but he talks about the politics of it and how politics has even incorporated, what politics is given the United States the ability to keep slavery alive and well through mass incarceration.
Right.
And that's politics.
And in other words,
so I have a question, y'all.
Go ahead. Somebody say.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Elder.
Would you think is poverty considered a culture, or being poor? Is that a culture?
I think it can be. I think.
No.
So, because when you keep talking about, economics, and if you look at Africa, and you look at some of the things I see on TV where folks really they have no economics whatsoever. But they still have their culture.
Now,
they have their rituals, and that's things that they do.
And that's.
But they don't have economics. So
I disagree.
This without economics, what culture are you talking about?
I disagree. Because what I'm trying to say.
You disagree with what?
What you're saying. Because this is the point. We have people in the richest, in rich places that have been functioning the way they've been functioning for a very long time. And because the system that they use, we don't recognize. We think they don't have an economic system. And that's false. See, because like I said,
you mean if they if they learn to get on welfare and they learn.
No. What I'm saying is how some of our people used to live in the South before there was welfare. If we had access to land, if we had access to woods, if we had access to tools and stuff to get what we needed, we were able to develop, we were able to build something around that. See, because
when I hear people, you're talking about an if.
No, I ain't talking. Some of these places that you're talking about have more resources than we have, and we look at our standard of life. And I just want to make sure we ain't doing this. We look at our standard of life and we throw the term broke on it. And I don't want people to mistake what I'm trying to say, because when I say economics, it don't mean that you controlling billions of dollars, but you might be controlling billions of trees, or you might be controlling enough food to be able to go from your farm and trade with somebody on another farm, or trade with somebody that's hunting. See, because economics, when I say economics, I'm not just talking about in the way that we see them here. Economics is a control of resources. So regardless of what your culture has materially, there is some type of resource that's being exchanged. Now, so that could be money, that could be food, that could be timber, that could be is something that your culture has control of that is able to exchange. I don't want, and all I'm saying is I don't want us to confuse what I'm talking about with money, because resources are a lot more. I mean, resources are a lot more important than just the money. You understand what I'm saying, or no? Am I clear?
I understand, but I also I have to agree with Sister Narita in that you can have a culture and not necessarily have economics in the sense that you're talking about, because there are a lot of examples out there that do that. So, I mean, when you talk about cultural economics, that could be that in itself could be a group of people who all believe the same thing. That culture, who all believe, and it's hard to show how it trickles down to us as a whole. So I don't know if your argument is about black people as a whole, or are you talking about pockets of people? Because there are definitions for all of those.
I'm not. Hold on. I'm talking about culture in general. There has to be some economics if there is a culture.
Okay.
I believe that. There has to be some economics if there's a culture, because culture is designed to protect the people, and the people are supposed to protect the culture. And if that is not happening, I don't believe culture exists.
Okay, to me that's so broad, because how would you apply that to just the village? How can you
to the village
narrow that down? Yeah.
To us. There is now, right now, because we are in a sense in somebody else's economic system. Many of us squeeze out extra resources so that we can form some type of exchange between each other. Right now, we're on the air right now exchanging resources, exchanging our thoughts. That is a resource. Our thoughts, our ideas, our resource, our time. When we come together for per ankh, and we bring a little bit of food together, we are exchanging resources. We are making, in a sense, the rules of the house within our community. So, in a sense, a culture is forming, or has already been formed, and we feeding it. If there is no exchange, there is no culture.
Okay.
And now,
I guess that makes a little sense.
Just a little, okay.
It makes it clear. I mean, it makes it clear in terms of your argument. I can kind of see that, but I also tend to think that it's not indefinite. That just culture, because culture has to do with beliefs and customs and all of that. That's what culture is of a people. Their beliefs.
I hear you.
Huh?
But I hear you on that.
Yeah, their ideas.
their ideas and
their
all that.
behavior.
Right.
Now, that doesn't have anything to do, that doesn't say necessarily economics.
But
So you're combining, you're adding economics to a culture which has its own definition.
what I'm saying
If you
is,
start talking about cultural economics, that's something different.
And I think the economic piece is important.
Answer this question, and I'll shut up. And I swear, I'm gonna shut up. How can you do
For real?
For real? How can you do any of the stuff that y'all describe with culture without some resources being exchanged?
Okay, resources. I get that. Resources. We know we give up our time. We give up our talents. Those are valuable exchanges and just as good as funding. I mean, if you got somebody who's acting as your treasurer or whatever, as opposed to paying somebody that would normally charge $20 an hour, and you got somebody donating that time to the village. I get that part.
And I get that because
when you say resources over economics, somehow it makes it
resource.
Two words.
Resource is resource.
But the resources that you explained, that you put forth as examples, are resources that mostly everybody can take advantage of or use or integrate. So that would be saying that culture is in all of that, because we do. People do that every day.
Now, hold on, because now we're going back across. All I'm saying is that the foundation of culture requires economics. That's all I'm saying. And now, so maybe I'm not clear on what I mean by economics. Is not economics about...
So maybe you ought to say resources.
But resources... But hold on. When you talk about what is economics then? Economics is the management of resources, is it not? The being able to count and to manage the resources? Is that not what economics is?
But this is my thing. If
is that not
have
what it is?
A person say it's my cultural practice, economics, I think it's using resources. It can be a part. Yeah. So I think that my family custom is that every Sunday we have Sunday dinner. Every Sunday. Mm-hmm. We have Sunday, or we just get together and pray every Sunday. That's a part of my culture that we do in our unit, in our family. It's a custom that we do, and we're going to do that custom whether or not we have a certain economic status.
Stop.
Now, as far as the resources, I get. Did he say stop? He said stop.
I just wanted to say stop. If there are no resources flowing, ultimately, you will not make it to that Saturday prayer service.
Okay, so then you're making my point. There is a culture, because where is there a place where someone has absolutely zero resource? Because you say as long as the resource is there, then they can have the culture.
Now hold on. How did that prove your point?
Your mouth and exchange of words can be a resource.
Oh my God! Listen, if resources are not there, there is not a culture, right?
Okay, I disagree.
Okay, cool. All right.
No, I think
we can just disagree. I mean, that's cool. I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, we just disagree. I think it
economics of branching knowledge.
Okay, listen up. I just Googled economics. It says in its most simple and concise definition, economics is the study of how society uses its limited resources. It's a social science that deals with the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. So, what you said earlier, Hi Tim, supports that.
Let's get back to Bernard.
Is there such thing as a place that has no resources?
There is no place.
Is there an entity that has absolutely no? Even though I don't, I feel like the economic. I think economically, we could still, you could be on the top, on the low, but I still think you could still have a culture in there. Now, I think the economic can influence culture. Economics can influence culture.
And all I'm saying,
like I said, culture has its own definition. And economics has its own. And what Hatim is saying is that you need the economics to support your culture or to keep it going.
Yes.
That's what I think he's saying.
To support the culture. It doesn't necessarily mean it's...
levels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I say you need the money to support the culture if you want to keep the culture, but it doesn't. But what happens, in my opinion, is when you may be on a lower economic level, like Christine has spoke of, you may end up being into some dysfunctional culture.
I'm sorry, I didn't even. I listen. I'm sorry. All right, I didn't. I should have just left it alone. I should have dealt with Kwame. I should have left it alone. I'm sorry.
You should have left it alone, because God forbid anybody disagree with you on your show about anything you have to say. God forbid, purge me, because it's not a show to have any.
Shut up! You can't have your own opinion here.
It's all about swear Tim about his perspective. Otherwise, I should have never brought it back. I think there was a lot of valid points that came to the conversation myself, and I think it's something that is can be looked at on either side, I think,
and it's cool,
and I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm not because we kind of lost focus on
exchange.
We kind of lost focus on the brother that we're trying to bring.
God, you cannot be serious about losing focus. You lose focus every time.
I do. That's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to keep me on focus. You're supposed to keep me on perspective.
And that's true. That's true. But I still think it was interesting because one thing I want to say I remember Ray Hagan's talking to me about the whole culture thing. And I had a different definition of culture at one time. And the way he explained it to me is how I now kind of look at culture. And it's affected by many things. But anyway... I think we're still saying pretty much the same thing for the most part. I think we kind of are saying the same thing.
From different angles?
I don't know too many culture lists, because it might be a dysfunctional culture, but I think culture is basically the way people...
Well, culture is customs and ideas and a behavior of a group of people, so... Mm-hmm. I don't know why you would say it's a dysfunctioning culture. Dysfunctioning would say to me that it's not working or it's not operating, so therefore there may not be one.
Or it don't exist.
Well, I think that the culture, for example, what's an example I can use?
Well, I know we say, like you could have a family. We have families that are dysfunctional, but they still a family.
Yeah.
So, for example,
this has been a great conversation for me, but I gotta hang up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
I guess when I'm listening, I think I'm hearing too narrow a notion of what culture is. How does Ray Hagan define culture, Navita? You said something about him defining culture. How does he define it?
He says culture, with the root word being cult, is merely a way a people does a thing.
The way a people
the way a person does a thing, like how Elder Phyllis said, like how they have their customs and the things, the way they do a thing is pretty much their culture. So their customs and
culture is a bit more than that. It's not that I disagree with what he's saying. I'm saying what he's saying and culture are all those means by which a people support those things that help them to exist. In other words, to survive. And if their culture becomes developed enough, it can even make them thrive. So again, I repeat, culture are all those means by which a people help themselves to survive, and if it becomes developed enough, they will even thrive.
Okay, so that's the definition you're giving for culture is
Culture.
so you have to be able to be thriving, I guess, to have a culture.
No. You can have a culture that is thriving, but your culture doesn't necessarily have to be thriving. Culture are those means by which you survive. In other words, can I feed myself? Can I, what is it? Can I feed myself? Can I maintain my health?
So do you think black people don't have a culture? Let me ask you that, because I used to think that we did it, and I don't agree with that anymore. But do you think black people as a whole don't have a culture? Or do you think there's a group of people, and not even just necessarily black people, that have absolutely no culture?
The way, to answer your question, black people have a culture. But I will go back to a statement I made earlier, and I said, the greater the dependence of people upon resources coming from outside themselves, the weaker their culture.
I think that was CeeLo. I had to. You back? Hold on.
Yeah, I was struggling.
I gotta mute you, CeeLo, because that's too loud.
I got you. I think we're having two different definitions of culture, and that's why I think maybe there is.
I mean, it's like we got different definitions on a lot of things, but the whole piece is the class swords and class thoughts, and I mean, it's sort of like throwing ideas in a great collider, and we collide them and see what breaks up, and be able to learn something. Because now I got some more stuff to think about.
And again, and then, you know, and I always go back to this, and this is why I appreciate a lot of where Banachi comes from. And we're constantly reminded of this, where a lot of the notions that we're talking about are foreign concepts. You couldn't talk about a notion of a culture without what Hatim's talking about as far as economics. Those ideas are foreign. I mean, that's where we're at today, but that's, of course, because our culture has evolved. Why? Because we speak another man's language. Why? Because we have to rely on other people for jobs. Why? Because when we have these vital needs, in order to maintain the so-called quality of life we have to go to other people for those resources. And again, I repeat, the greater our reliance on other resources of people, on another people's resources, the weaker our culture is.
So can someone have a bastardized culture, or is that just,
again, you know,
a misnomer?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you can have a very bad. I mean, what hip hop became is a kind of bastardization of what hip hop, in terms of how hip hop broke out. You had said something earlier, Navita, that I was going to bring back up because it was going on. And I can't think of what it was.
Hold on for a second. Hold on. CeeLo, you got something you want to say?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah. I'm going to say that I'm going to fall to the side of Hatim because of the fact that we have owned and controlled our own destiny, or haven't for so long. The culture that we are now living, the culture that we're now under, and what we're propagating is not the true essence of our culture.
But you said that we are propagating a culture, so we're still practicing
Right.
a culture.
We've come up with something.
So that's what I said. We still are practicing a culture. It just may not be ours.
One of the prime examples to this of I keep coming back to the word dysfunction, but the fact that we and so many of us even call ourselves and refer to each other by the N-word. And we do this like ain't nothing wrong with it, but I have a whole lot wrong with it. But our culture now, we actually accept that and say that and use that and keep doing it, and we're passing it on to the next generation. I'm just like, when I hear that word come out of a black person's mouth, it is like somebody punching me and stabbing me in the chest. But we do that. People in our own tribe and our own village do that on a regular, consistent, daily freaking basis. And we don't see anything wrong with it. Well, I do. Why is that accepted and part of our culture? Why? Where did that come from?
Like I said, we'll accept it is a culture still existing.
So
Ken said there will be no culture, but there is a culture still existing, which is what you're saying.
What am I saying? I don't know if you hear me. Wait, hold on, stop. What I say?
And I think a lot of it comes down to, I believe a lot of it comes down to that lack of the economics. Absolutely. I agree with Hakim. And I
don't disagree either. Like I said, I don't think y'all get it. The lack of economics still will have a culture there. It's not. I'm saying the same thing you're saying is that even though the economics, because we're not economically empowered, and you're saying that we will take on some other culture that may not be to our benefit. That's what I'm saying. The culture still exists. No one has never said the economics. We don't want that. The economics is beneficial to us. But it doesn't mean that our culture goes away. We just pick up.
I don't disagree with you, Navita. I'm saying I agree with both of you. But what I'm saying is what we have to realize is the state of emergency that we're in. Because someone else is writing and controlling our narrative, our destiny, our direction, and it all comes down to that economic piece. So that's what I'm saying.
Question.
That's what I'm saying. I've never said that the economic piece is irrelevant.
Question.
It's very relevant because we don't have economics and military and politics. We're asked to fuck out. That's what I think.
Question.
Now, I'm not saying that culture doesn't exist without those, because the point wasn't made being made whether the economic piece was important or not. As far as now, it was about whether the culture exists. Economics, military, and politics to me are very important things that we have to have, or we ain't gonna be able to do shit. Because if we can't even protect it, then it doesn't even matter at the end of the day.
Right.
But that's not, I didn't think that was a topic we were discussing. I thought we were just saying that. Because I would never say, well, the economics isn't important. We don't need economics. We don't need any of that stuff. No, but I think a culture can still exist without economics, yes. But we definitely, as a people, have to be economically empowered, military empowered, and politically empowered. That's a definite.
Question.
Yeah, I think they all three.
And still have a culture at the same time.
I think they all three are inextricably tied together.
What?
Culture, economics, politics, they're all inextricably intertwined and wound up together.
Question.
And that's why...
I have a question for y'all.
Go ahead.
If a people adopt another group's culture, do they still exist?
I hear what you're saying. I actually posted a couple things in the chat on Facebook. And my question is, without the economics, how do you even enact the other principles? You cannot determine yourself. You can't. Your faith, your purpose, all of that is all negated by your lack of economics. All of it.
I'm just asking
the culture differently. It's just the way you do a thing. As a group of, is the way you perform a thing.
Absolutely, but the way that you do a thing, Navita, if you could, would you go to that white man's job every day?
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the economics, once again, I think this is over y'all's head or something, because the economic piece, once again, I'm saying that is a factor. And guess what happens with that? Now we have a culture of me going to work for this white man every day. That has become a part of how I do a thing. That is now my culture because I'm on the lower end of the economics. It doesn't mean, I said that all along. It doesn't mean that I have no culture. It just means that my culture is maybe a fucked up one at the moment. Because it doesn't go away.
I'm agreeing with you.
That's what I'm saying.
The way that we do things is not in our control. That's what I'm saying.
Right. It's not. That's why I said we'll have a fucked up culture, but we might have one.
If you're not,
it may be fucked up.
If you're not in the control, if you as a group are not able to control the way you do a thing, do you have a culture?
Yeah, I think that there are certain, because I think some things are not even, that you can practice, like you said, are resource-wise, that you can practice within your own unit. I mean, even though me and you and all of us may not be financially at the top, but we have certain cultural practices that we still can adhere to.
I would disagree. I think
even though we go to work through this white man every day. We depend on, we got to pay taxes to this white man every day. There's still certain cultural things we can do.
I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. See, because I do think.
I just don't think, even like language, if a person still, like I know Mexicans in LA, they may be, they may not be the richest thing, but you said they have the resources that they still meet every, whatever, like it's their culture every day. I used to live in a Mexican neighborhood. It's their culture every day to make sure everybody's kids got to school, even if your parents or nobody was missing. That was a part of their culture. They would watch over your kids and make sure they got to school and back, whether you were there or not. It was a part of their culture, and they on a faithful basis. And I mean, when I say all the kids, they would designate certain parents, and you would make sure all the kids. And if your kid or your child, I should say, was not a part of on the way they would come home, those children, them people were in charge of making sure you knew or the school knew that this child is not here. It's this child. And this was something that, when I lived in LA in a Mexican neighborhood, I observed of their culture. Now, I think that's just a part of their culture that they would maintain, whether they were economically on top or economically on the bottom. Now, there's other aspects of the culture that might be shitty, though. They have to go to work every day for this white man. That's the part of the culture.
No, let me insert this because one must understand that when Mexicans are behind the door, what language are they speaking?
They speak Spanish, most of them.
Yeah.
Which is part of their culture.
Yeah. And to make a real strong point, look, I was taking a graduate course in Spanish at Ohio State. And it was a course dealing with Spanish-speaking people in Ohio. And I hooked up with this one Mexican brother, and he was going to help me out with a paper, right? So I called the brother, and I forgot to ask for him in Spanish. He answers the phone, and, and I said, is George there? And he was like, no speak English. So he hung up immediately. When I called him back and asked for him in Spanish, then he was there. Now, do we as black people have that? But again, that speaks to.
I mean, we don't have a language as a culture. That's not
Right.
a part of our
That speaks to
culture.
the
But there's other aspects of culture besides language. But okay.
Of course.
But
Of course. And this is.
I don't care what this is.
This is.
We have a
what I wanted to
culture,
understand.
even though it may be good or bad at times. In different, I think there's different pockets, like Elder Phillips talked about. But sometimes, even in the economic, it will influence the type of culture you may have, but it may not necessarily just obliterate your culture, because even
That's why I tend to speak on Philippe Jacques Matthews' notion of first, second, third,
the
and fourth
frequencies. The frequencies, and
he speaks to what we're talking about in terms of somebody who, quote unquote, is well off financially. However, they get culturally left.
I think that's
because you can even be taken out, like when other tribes will take over other tribes.
Nah, but hold on.
You take on their culture.
Yeah, well, hold on.
When they brought you in.
Right. So now the question is, once that other tribe accepts the other tribe's culture, does the old tribe still exist? If all your people pick up another people's culture, you know what I'm saying? Do y'all really exist? You're plugging into a mechanism.
I think you exist as a tribe, as a part of that tribe, and you have now taken on that culture. The culture has been left. Your culture has changed. That's how I look at it. You have a changed culture. And like us, we have changed in so many ways, sometimes for the worse.
Right.
And picked up some bad cultural habits.
Well, now,
because of where we are on the financial scale.
Now I'm not gonna put it on the
resource scale, I should say, economic scale. On the resource side of the game, financial. Some of us have picked up some really bad things. Hold on, oh my goodness.
What's wrong? Hello, Navita. Hello. See, because I
don't know what happened.
Me neither. But we move from the financial to the because I think we might need to have more discussion about finances, resources, and stuff like that, because I wasn't necessarily talking about finances with this. You know what I'm saying? But
I shouldn't have used the term finance, but I think this will be interesting, though, if people come to the class, because Benazzi will be at the ASCAT class on NIA. We might be able to bring up some of the definitions of what he has to say. Oh, he gonna be in class on NIA? What's
the date? On the 7th? He gonna be. So he's coming for a class, for a study group class, so people can get clarity on this other stuff.
Well, permission to speak.
The topic on the 7th. You got the topic?
Yes. Okay. On the 7th, he will be speaking on basically and these are in Kemetic terms, they're called the Emi-Wenwati. And that just means those who are in the hours. Those who are in the hours. But more specifically, he's referring to the star watchers, the people who, by watching the stars, came up with the notion of time.
Wait 1 second. Kwame, are you saying that is, because I'm looking at my list here on this other flyer I'm putting together, and are you saying that's on NIA?
Yes.
Okay, because on the stuff that that Alona gave me, let me go back and look. I have that listed for on Sunday.
No.
Hold on.
That Imani Day he's giving the Sabayet.
Okay, so let me go back here and look. So what I have here, okay, I'm glad you said it so I can double check this, because I might have this wrong. Okay. Okay. And then the one on the 9th is what?
that is the Sabiet he's given. On the 8th, that Kurumba Day, that's when he'll be talking about the book.
Okay, Jesus. Okay, so. Okay, I got it. I read that wrong. And then on the 9th is the Perunk. Okay. Oh, God, this fire has been a bear trying to say, oh, I don't want fire. I'm trying to tell you.
Excuse me.
All right.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Uh-oh.
I need to change that date.
Okay. So,
Hey, y'all,
Okay.
fam.
so he gonna be covering
I got
a
to go
wide.
back to the computer.
Okay.
He gonna be covering a wide scope of things. You and culture being one of them.
And the
Metanetter being another one. Niggerization of the African is another one. The importance of an African-centered education as well. So we're going to be covering a whole lot. And then, like I said, y'all come and argue with us and talk with us in person. You know, just, like I said, it is what it is. You got anything else you want to share with the people before we get on up? Because we have been on.
No, but I do not.
Hold on, we've been on. Let me see. I can tell how long we've been on for 2 hours.
2 hours.
And 12 minutes. My fault, longer than that. My math is bad. Well, yeah, 2 hours and about 12
So I
minutes.
just hope everybody will come out and see what Bonachi has to say regarding not just the culture, because my question would be, is the nigger factory a culture?
Ooh.
And I would wonder what his input would be on that. Like I said, is it a negative culture that has been, manifested out of the fact that we aren't in control?
For us. But it's negative for us, but it sponsors and builds theirs up. So
right.
So maybe the culture, because actually maybe the culture we are participating in does not really benefit us.
It's a problematic culture that we've slipped into in some cases.
Right,
that,
some cases,
like
right.
you said, does not benefit us.
But family, I want to thank you.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he's got to say.
Right. Hold on. I'm gonna let Miss CeeLo have, because I keep putting you on mute because there's a lot of background noise. You got any last words for the people, Sister CeeLo?
No. I like I said, I think that I agree with both sides of this. There is a culture. There is. Now, what we need to do with that culture, how we need to elevate that culture, how we need to evolve that culture, that's where I'm at.
Right.
Okay.
That's the problem of the moment. And in the moment, we have the task of wrestling with the concepts, wrestling with the ideas, and putting them in action. You got any last words, Sister Navita?
And that's some of the things that he's going to discuss on when he comes to town.
Okay. So, family, I want to thank you for joining us here at Gye-Nyame Journey. I want to welcome you to the Congregation Almighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where the hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Come on, Anime. This is a Heart of a Simba production. Yes, it goes in there. And of course, this has been the Daily Toast. When we strive to blow up your old paradigms. This brother out there, my mouth, fam.